welcome you at our board meetings.
Thank you.
The last one. I will echo the same comments that Mr. Parkhurst. I had a few to make at the end of the meeting, but I really want to tell you, Joe, how much you've contributed. Because you've called, when you hear something in the community, you've called to let us know. Then we could take it up as a board. You've been a collaborative member of the board, and I want to thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, so I'd like to, before we go into public audience, there's an agenda item to be added. Personnel report.
I move that we add personnel report to consent agenda item Roman numeral 6.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now, it's time for public audience.
Madam Chair, can I ask the students if they have anything they
Oh,
want to
sure.
report?
Okay.
I know that for our school, we've had a lot of exciting events in November. We just finished our Spirit Weekend homecoming, as Mr. Porter said. And we're, as part of peer leadership, vice president, I'm part of a group, which is peer leadership, as I said. It's a group who makes efforts to advocate for certain events around school. And we recently were doing a Red Ribbon Week this week, which is advocating for drunk driving, and we set up simulations at lunch where we put on goggles and it shows what the effects are of drunk driving and how you can't see. It's basically a simulation for kids to know how it's like. And we are also doing a breast cancer volleyball event on November 7th, and we are going to be using the donations to donate to breast cancer awareness.
Thank you.
Am I allowed to talk about sports?
Anything you want. Absolutely.
Well, so the soccer team right now is currently, I think, 10th in the state for Class S out of, I think, 50 or 55, which is pretty big. It's higher than we were last year. Saturday we have a night game, 7 o'clock at Grammy. And next Wednesday, the 30th, is our Windsor Lock Senior Night at 6 o'clock against SMSA. And another thing, National Honor Society at the moment is brainstorming ideas for our community service project. So if anyone has any input, we'd like to hear it, because we're in the middle of a few. We're just deciding which one we think would benefit the most.
Can one of you talk about the college fair?
The college fair, as you know, we've had it this past Tuesday, and it was amazing because a lot of colleges came over. I know we had at least 100, I think. 200?
Almost two.
Wow, that's a lot. I know all of my number one schools were actually there, so it was nice to go around and talk to them and see the faces of the people who are going to read my application. I know I had a lot of questions about my profession and what I needed to do. Some advice I asked a lot about how to approach the college application process and Common App and all that, so it was nice to clear everything and meet the person who's going to read my applications.
Very good.
How's the application process going?
It's going good. I'm actually applying to college today, so that's exciting.
I plan to apply on Monday. So I'm working with Sullivan, but my parents hire somebody to help me, personally. I sit with them once a month, and I go over all this stuff with them. So I plan to apply on Monday. All my stuff's all set. So.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. It's quite the process now. I remember writing a little essay as to why I wanted to go into school. Okay. Public audience. Anything related to any agenda item? Okay, then we'll go on to the consent agenda. Minutes, September 26th and October 2nd.
I would move acceptance of the consent agenda, item A, minutes.
And item B is personnel report. We have a resignation. Oh, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then the personnel report.
This is the only copy of it.
Yes.
Let's see. Claire Newman, special education teacher, has submitted her resignation. I move the Board of Education accepts Ms. Newman's resignation effective October 22nd, 2019, and offer her appreciation for all of her efforts on behalf of the students at Winslow Public Schools. She has served here for less than 1 year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move on to the field trip.
Yes, so if you remember last year, we kind of reestablished the history club at the middle school, and you did approve a trip for them in the spring to go to Washington, D.C. So one of our middle school teachers, Rachel Dubrow, is here to talk about a request for the current year for our history club to travel this year to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and to hopefully have you approve that this evening. So Rachel, I'll turn it over to you.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. So last year you were so nice to approve us to go to DC, and I know that speaking on behalf of all the kids that went and the teachers and myself, obviously, it was amazing. To see these kids outside of the classroom and taking in what we've been telling them and like making these connections was just fantastic. And I was talking to Ms. Pietrix earlier about her daughter went with us, and I was like, this is it. This is where I'm going to see you. Like, I'll vote for you, and you're going to live in DC, and this is going to be great. So to see that like connection that she, among other students, made was great. So we're hoping that this will be year 2 of a 3-year trial of traveling to different historical locations around New England. We're decided to take a group of students that are highly engaged in history and our community. Our history club, as you guys know, is all around the town. We have kids this Sunday going to Node and Reed to help clean up the park and get ready for all the holiday festivities that happen there. We're going back to the train station this year. So it's nice to get those kids out of Windsor Locks and see that there's also this larger community we're a part of as well. So we're hoping to go to Philadelphia, as I said, in May 6th to the 8th. We're using the same company. It's called World Strides. They're fantastic. They actually offer accredited programs once they get to high school. So I'd love to talk to the department here at the high school and get that going too. It's going to be $695 per student, a little more pricey than Washington, D.C., but unfortunately the Smithsonian's in D.C. aren't in Philadelphia, so we have to pay for more museums and everything like that. The chaperones are paid for because of the ratio. We have to have 1 to every 9 kids. The payment is spread out monthly until the trip, and they also offer flag financial assistance, which really works well for a lot of the students that go. I know that last year a lot of our students were helped by it. They also offer the gifted education fundraising, and we had one student who was able to pay for his entire trip for this fundraising. So it's really nice to see students who may not be able to go on trips like this with their family be able to go with us. We actually had a couple kids that went with us who had never left Connecticut. So it was really nice to see that. It includes everything. It includes round trip transportation. We get a course leader for the entire 3 days we're there. All our admission fees. We get field journals, which we then take back and use as part of our class. They offer evening activities, all of our meals, hotel accommodations, and we get night security guards, which was fantastic. It eased me a little bit of taking 40 plus middle schoolers out of the state. And we're going to get to see everything that Philadelphia has to offer, plus go to Gettysburg. So I know a lot of kids are excited about that because the Civil War, for some reason, is like they're really into it. I love it.
Any questions?
Sounds like a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, is there a motion?
I move that the board approve the request for the Woodstock Middle School History Club trip to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Have a great trip.
Thank you.
Be safe. Next is policy review. Like I said, we have many, many policies. I think Mr. Parkhurst has some comments.
I do.
I'd like to.
Yes, so the first set are presented as a second read and a vote for approval this evening, but I do want to make a request that you make a motion to remove policy 2420, vandalism, 3500, which is food service program, and 3542, lunch charging meal policy. Upon reviewing those, we need to review them a little bit further and make some revisions and bring them back to you. So those three, again, 2420, 3500, and 3542, we're requesting that you remove those from the approval for this evening.
Is there a motion to do that?
I move that we remove policy 2420, vandalism restitution, 3500, food service program, and 3542, lunch charging meal policy from the list of those policies under second readings.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, now we need a motion to, well, first of all, we've all had a chance to look at them, read them, go over them, whatever. Are there any concerns or thoughts or revisions that you'd like to address? No? The only one that I saw is there. I just missed it. And it was the board self-evaluation. We had the evaluation of the superintendent, but I didn't see the other. And it's there, so.
And just a point of clarification on the one you're referencing, the 9000 series, in addition to 3 other ones, are on for a first read, not a final approval tonight.
Right.
So that one will come back, that series will come back at the next meeting.
Okay. Okay.
I move the Board of Education approves the revisions to the revised list of the policies listed above as presented.
Second.
Second by Jim. Any questions or thoughts or not? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none? Accepted.
Thank you to the policy committee for its hard work.
Please, thank you too to Mr. Parkhurst and Mrs. Knoyer and Kate and everybody that put all the work into it. So, it was a good meeting. Not a meeting, but a good meeting. Okay, anything else on that? If not, progress toward the goals.
So if you recall at the last meeting, I presented our specific targeted goal areas, both in terms of achievement, but also in terms of addressing chronic absenteeism. So we have run our first round of reports for chronic absenteeism. I don't have any academic data at this point. It's still too early in the year to bring that to you to tell you the progress. But I do in Exhibit 7-2A, I do have a sheet that outlines where our current chronic absenteeism is at the current time. Keep in mind that chronic absenteeism represents missing 10% of the school year. So in this case, we're looking at students that thus far in the year have missed 4 or more days. So kind of keep that in perspective when you hear the numbers, because it might sound a little bit alarming, but keep it in perspective that we do have some students that have missed that. So just to kind of highlight that for you, we had specific targeted goals for each school. So North Street School, the target was to be under 10% during the 1920 school year. The October progress for North currently of the percentage of students that have missed 4 or more days of school are 8.7%. South Elementary, the goal was to be under 5%. They are currently at 8.3%. The middle school, the goal was to be under 5%. They're currently at 9.7%. In the high school, the goal is to be under 10%. They're currently at 12.9%. So I will give you an update at each meeting each month of where we are with that, and then when we have data on academic performance, I'll include that as well.
Great. Thank you. We've postponed the finance report tonight. So end with the administrative bargaining contract. Come to consensus. And we need a motion to accept the administrator's contract.
I move that the Board of Education approve the administrator bargaining unit contract for 2020 to 2023. And certainly thank the administrators and our administrative staff here who worked so hard on the negotiation work for all the parties involved.
It was a good negotiation session. And all in favor? Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
So, we have a contract. Thank you. Further comments? Anyone?
I have just one other comment. In your packets, you do have a copy of the 2021 budget process. So just to point out that we will be looking to push out the documents to our administrators on November 1st and then start that process. A couple of things I do want to point out, that we have outlined it, and again, you have copies of this, and there's copies in the packet that are posted online on the website, but there are 2 potential Saturday workshops built into the calendar. In addition, there is an open community conversation around the budget scheduled for January, and again, I'll push these dates out as we get closer to them. And then individual reviews will happen with each building administrator with our cabinet and central office team as we work through the budget process. As you know, it's pretty much a year-long process that will start in earnest on November 1st. So again, I want to thank Charmaine and her team for not only working through a busy audit that's actually currently, I don't know if they're completed yet, but currently underway, and balancing getting all the documents ready to push out for 2021. So it seems kind of ironic that we just started the school year and we're looking to the next budget, but that's the way the calendar works. So that is in your packets and also posted on the website.
Have we received any information for the tuition at Craig? Updated?
You can look for it.
No, not any
I've heard
update.
that it's going up significantly. So I just was
Okay.
wondering if we had
No, we
any
haven't.
information.
We don't have that.
Okay. Public audience. Mr. Harrington.
Thank you.
Say?
You need name and address for the record? Well, Paul Harrington, 10 Megway. 2 quick comments. The first one is going to be directed at our superintendent and to the board as well. I want to commend the job that he is doing. Over the last several months, I've been out talking with a bunch of people, and I've heard only great positive things from the community. But now I want to focus on what I see. Many months ago, I did sit with you, and I asked you, I wanted to know what was going on in the schools. You know, there was no way of us not having a child in the system right now. I didn't know what was going on, and you put together this community link, and I signed up, I think, the day it went live, and the information that we're getting through that community link is priceless, and it's great. Being a resident of this town and eventually having my daughter go to the school, we're really going to know what's going on before we even get to the stage of, you know, when our daughter starts school. So it's a wonderful job you're doing. The videos, me and my wife watch the videos. When they come out, the Education Everywhere videos, they are phenomenally done. I don't know who does it. I don't know if it's a student. They are so well put together. So great job on the board. Kudos to you. My second comment is, if you know or you don't know, I will be leaving the Board of Finance on November 5th. And I just wanted to thank the board. For the last 4 years, I chaired the board. I know at times we sometimes weren't on the same page, but we always were able to get somewhere where we could have an agreement. So the first 2 years was really a plus, the first 2 years that you brought in zero budgets. So those were great years. In the last 2 years, although, there were increases, we sat down. Pat, you and I always were able to sit down with one another, with Sean this past year, and come up with good stuff. So I want to thank everybody on the board. It's been a pleasure as the Board of Finance Chair working with all of you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Well, just one question. I like that report that you gave us regarding absenteeism. Will there be a little chart to follow from?
Yes, that will grow as we go through. So the same document will just add without a column each time.
By the end, we meet our goal.
That's the plan.
I'll tell you that CAVE roundtable yesterday, absenteeism was one of the big factors that everyone was experiencing, trying to get it down, particularly in high school. That seemed to be the...
So let's ask our students. Obviously, you two have great attendance, but any advice, any thoughts on chronic absenteeism, in particular for high school, how to lower that and make sure our kids are in school?
I do have one question. In those statistics, is it all absences?
Yeah,
Or
that's a
just
great
unexcused
question. No, the definition from the state of chronic absenteeism is excused and unexcused. They
Okay.
clump them together.
Okay.
So we are well aware that there are some students that have unusual circumstances that warrant absenteeism. So we keep that in mind, but from a reporting perspective, it clumps them together.
Because I just know one of my friends, she was in the hospital for like 2 weeks, and she had something in her brain, something wrong with her brain, and I just didn't know she was included in those.
Yeah, they are, unfortunately, yes. Yeah, the same holds true in reporting discipline. That's something they did that too.
Okay.
Anything else? Anybody? If not, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?